right now at 7.
Breaking news, Bay Area family and friends about to speak out right now at a candlelight vigil after a man dies in police custody.
Plus, in the East Bay, a Bay Area deputy is facing charges after 2 deadly shootings. New body camera video and reaction from critics.
If this officer had been charged beforehand, he might have been off of the streets.
We've made great strides in the tiers. Don't penalize us.
And why does one Bay Area county have plenty of doses while its neighbor is pleading for more?
And you don't have to look too far for the longest win streak in all of Major League Baseball. The Oakland A's, what's better than 10 in a row? How about 11?
But first, breaking news out of Alameda. You're looking live at a vigil that just got underway for an Oakland father who died in Alameda police custody. Family and friends brought flowers and lit candles in honor of Mario Gonzalez. There are also signs reading justice for Mario. The incident happened Monday on Oak Street. Police say Gonzalez was a suspect in a possible theft and suffered a medical emergency while officers were trying to restrain him. But Gonzalez's family says he was healthy and did not have any medical conditions. They are now demanding answers. Let's go back out live to the vigil. Gonzalez's family wants to know how he died, the names of the officers involved, and the footage from the officers' body-worn cameras to be released immediately. We are waiting for the family to start speaking. We'll have much more on this tonight at 11 o'clock.
And this just in, a heads up for San Leandro residents. In just the past hour, we have learned that the city could enact a curfew later tonight, and residents should prepare to shelter in place. Now, the city will only tell us that it comes in response to credible threats of criminal activity. The curfew would not affect emergency services, healthcare facilities, or people traveling to and from work.
Also right now in the KPIX 5 News at 7 and streaming on CBS Bay Area, a Contra Costa County deputy involved in 2 deadly shootings is now facing manslaughter charges. It all stems from an incident that happened back in 2018. Good evening, I'm Elizabeth Cook.
And I'm Ken Bassita. KPIX 5's Devin Feely is in the town of Danville tonight with a breakdown on both cases.
Justice delayed is often tantamount to justice denied, and that had to be one of the victim's family's greatest fears over this past 2.5 years. But whatever it was that finally tilted the scales of justice in their favor, the officer who is responsible for this deadly shooting is now facing criminal charges.
Officer Hall is charged with voluntary manslaughter and assault with a semi-automatic weapon.
The charges stem from a deadly shooting in November of 2018. Deputy Andrew Hall fired 9 times into the windshield of Latimer Arbeláda's car as he maneuvered past 2 Danville police cars trying to block his path. Deputy Hall says Arbeláda tried to run him down, the car itself a deadly weapon. The DA's office disagreed.
In this case, we believe that Officer Hall killed without lawful excuse or justification.
Deputy Hall has been under intense scrutiny after he was involved in a second deadly shooting in March of this year. Body camera video released today captures the grim moment in which Deputy Hall shot Tyrell Wilson in the face. Wilson was homeless, had a history of mental illness, and was armed with a knife during the confrontation.
I think it was very unreasonable for this officer to believe that his life was in danger.
Civil rights attorney John Burris represents the families of both victims.
They're in a lot of pain. I talked to both of them today. And sure, they're happy that he's being prosecuted in the other case, but the issue really is, if they had done it earlier, what about my son?
Deputy Hall's attorney accused the DA of playing politics, saying it is no coincidence that the charges were announced one day after the guilty verdict in the Derek Chauvin case. In a prepared statement, attorney Michael Raines commented, the Contra Costa District Attorney's Office originally deemed Deputy Hall's use of force as justified, given the fact that he was defending himself from a lethal threat. The timing of their sudden reversal in deciding to file charges seems suspect and overtly political.
You might ask legitimately, what took them so long to decide to file charges in this case? The district attorney's office says they have completely overhauled their system for reviewing use of force cases. They used to have, in essence, just a single person looking at these cases. They now have a team of 10. In Danville, Devin Feely, KPIX 5.
Looking live at Oakland tonight, spotlight on Derek Chauvin's guilty verdict has led to renewed calls for police reform here in the Bay Area. A bill co-sponsored by San Francisco District Attorney Chesa Boudin would make it easier for any prosecutor's office in California to obtain an arrest warrant for an officer who breaks the law. Boudin says that it would eliminate the role that other police officers currently have to play as a check against filing criminal charges. San Francisco Police Officers Association is calling the proposal a, quote, recipe for disaster, but two Bay Area police chiefs had this to say.
We own part of this, and we have to understand what part of this we own. Our policies. Is it the way we go about our enforcement strategies? Is it culture?
This is a time for real change, real meaningful change.
It's a tale of two counties tonight when it comes to getting the COVID-19 vaccine. San Mateo County can't get enough doses, while its neighbor, Santa Clara County, has plenty. Santa Clara County got an infusion from the federal government and is working with 170,000 doses this week. Now, county officials are working hard to make sure that doses don't go to waste. Now, by contrast, San Mateo County is getting just 11,000 doses. One reason for the difference, San Mateo County's population is less than 800,000, while Santa Clara County's is about 2 million.
What we're asking the state to do is really, we've made great strides in the tiers. Don't penalize us.
We have approximately 170,000 doses between the federal and state governments coming in, and we're able to disperse those across a week for our mass vaccination sites.
For the latest information on how to sign up for a vaccine in your county, just check out our resource guide on KPIX.com. The Oakland A's are red hot these days. Just a little while ago, the Twins had them on the ropes at the Coliseum.
KPIX 5's Vern Glenn joins us now with the exciting finish. Vern?
Oh, my head's just like, boom, these Oakland A's. I saw it and I don't believe it. Without recording a hit, the A's won its 11th straight game. And it was a game where Matt Olson homered twice. But let's just get right to it. Let's take it to the top of the 10th, tied at 10. Minnesota's Byron Buxton got hold of one. Deep part of the Coliseum, a two-run homer gave the Twins a 12-10 lead. There were 31 hits in this game. Bottom of the 10th, Ramon Laureano, after the Twins blundered the bases loaded, a routine grounder, and the ball's thrown away. It cost the Twins the game. The A's came back and won it 13-12, 11 straight wins, and with it, first place in the American League West. Tarp on the field, never good. Giants had a 45-minute rain delay at Philadelphia. Tied bottom 9. Who's this man? That's former Cal Bear Andrew Knapp. He was the batter that delivered the Phillies' game winner as Bryce Harper scored the winning run. Phillies won it 6-5. Giants won the series, but they come home after a 3-3 road trip to host Miami tomorrow night. Pivot to the NBA, Steph Curry, an off night in the nation's capital. 18 points, but missed 18 of 25 shots. Warriors blew an 11-point lead. There's a Curry miss. The Wizards, who had earlier blown a 19-point lead, flexed at the right time. Bradley Beal to the rim. He had 29 points in the game. Warriors still had a chance. Russell Westbrook threw it away. Dubs turnover. Here's the last seconds. Andrew Wiggins missed the layup. It hung up there forever. Washington made its free throws and survived 118-114. Dubs come home after a 3-2 road trip and host Denver Friday night. And get this, Friday night in front of fans. Wow. I just may have to come out to Chase Center and check that out myself.
Long overdue.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Vern.
Up next, the U.S. city that will soon play host to the largest sporting event in the world since the pandemic.
And the new incident involving police that is raising tensions tonight. Some new video of that 16-year-old girl who was shot and killed by an officer. Also tonight, the governor making moves to help deal with the dry winter, what he just did in the North Bay.
Now I'm standing currently 40 feet underwater, or should be standing 40 feet underwater.
We're going to get a little rain here this weekend. Not enough to help with what the governor's talking about, but we need to talk about the change in our weather for the weekend. And we also need to talk about the unprecedented changes which were just noted in the snowpack in the Sierra that we have now, something that's happened over the last 3 weeks. I'll explain coming up.
Too bad the fog didn't give us water, right? Tonight, Governor Newsom has declared a drought emergency in 2 counties, and it could be just the beginning. Sonoma and Mendocino counties now under a drought emergency. Nearly the entire state is in trouble right now, but the governor stopped short of declaring a statewide drought. And in Marin County, with the hills parched, ranchers are concerned that grass-fed cattle won't have enough to feed on. Ranchers are already forecasting losses with no rain in sight.
It's kind of scary to see, to witness it. This is only April, you know?
So 2014 was bad. This is going to be worse.
As conditions persist and present themselves, to add other counties to that list as necessary.
Meteorologist Darren Peck is in for Paul this evening. And Darren, you were saying the snow is melting at a record pace right now in the Sierra.
Yeah, Liz, on the other side of the state, I've got some unprecedented changes to tell you about in the Sierra snowpack just over the last 3 weeks. Looks great when you look at it from space, but you're only seeing the surface level of the snow. What you have to consider is how much water is being stored in that snowpack. That's what matters most to us. On April 1st, when we did our big snow survey, we were at 63% of average. We'd like more, but that doesn't sound all that bad. But in the last 3 weeks, that number has gone down to 37% of average. It should have stayed close to 63. We're just talking about what's the percent of water there in comparison to what average would be for today's date. We were at 63% then. That number should have tracked closely to that, but something happened over the last 3 weeks. And if you look at the Sierra as a whole, I know the dots are small on there, but each one of the red dots shows you a snow sensor which has recorded the largest decline in water content in the Sierra snowpack since we started keeping records on this stuff, at least 30 years. So we're breaking records in terms of losing the snowpack faster than we ever have. The primary culprit behind this, the temperatures. And if you look at what California has done for the last 3 weeks, the areas shaded deeply in red were well above average. You may remember around April 1st, many of us here were in shorts and t-shirt weather, and so it all ties into the story of climate change, which we're doing a lot of coverage on this week, and that's probably one of the more notable discoveries of just this last week. All right, let's come back to the forecast. Daytime highs today, mid-70s if you were inland, 58 in Oakland. Classic, getting into like a summer pattern around here. Morning lows tomorrow, no news. We'll go back down into the upper 40s. Expect the marine layer to build back in again overnight. We're going to wake up to gray skies for most of the Bay Area, but it'll burn back to the beaches by late morning and early afternoon. Let's talk about the more important change, and that gets here for the weekend. And the Futurecast is going to show us a very different pattern than what we've seen for the last several weeks. That is widespread rain coming to the Bay Area on Sunday, and this is 4 days out. So we're not going to get tied into specific details yet, but right now the forecast is going to be a general. It's going to rain Sunday, and it'll likely rain throughout the day. Widespread, steady rain in the morning, turning to scattered showers on Sunday afternoon. We pick up 1/4 of an inch of rain for most of the Bay Area, and maybe 1/2 an inch of rain in the Bay Area. These numbers are going to adjust a little over the next few days. But it's good that there's been consistency in the models for at least the last 24 hours on this idea. And look at the snow in the Sierra. This might be one of the bigger issues to make sure we are aware of. That's 1 foot of snow on Donner Pass falling on Sunday. This is the perfect situation to catch people off guard because so many people are thinking we're done with this. And it's happening on a Sunday, when a lot of people will probably be trying to come back home. Do you know anybody who's going to be traveling in the Sierra on Sunday? Make sure you give them a heads up on what to expect there. Big totals there for this time of year. Certainly not enough to make an impact on what we were looking at, but it'll at least delay that decrease. It'll slow it down a little bit, but that decrease is pretty inevitable the way things have already started going. All right, in the 7-day forecast, what comes next after that rain? We'll be done with it for the most part by Monday. Maybe a leftover shower on Monday morning, but it shouldn't be much. Don't leave out the fact that when we get that rain on Sunday, it's going to be colder. It'll be a bit windy. It'll be chilly. Some inland spots won't get out of the 50s all day. All right, guys, back over to you.
All right.
Thanks, Darren.
Well, here's a look at your top headlines. Police in Columbus, Ohio released body cam footage just hours after an officer shot and killed a 16-year-old girl. Now, a warning, this video is difficult to watch. It shows Micaiah Bryant holding what appears to be a knife as she chases someone. Another girl falls to the ground before 4 shots rang out. The officers were responding to a 911 caller who said someone was trying to stab them.
The video shows that there is more to this. It requires us to pause, take a close look at the sequence of events. And though it's not easy, wait for the facts.
Let's take a live look at Capitol Hill now, where there's new momentum to address police reform after the Derek Chauvin verdict. So far, the Biden administration has backed the George Floyd Act in Congress, which bans chokeholds, no-knock warrants, and makes it easier to file a lawsuit against a police officer. The legislation passed the House but is stalled in the Senate. Republican Senator Tim Scott says he's working on an alternative proposal that would put more burden on departments instead of individual officers.
I'm sure he's updated a few things based on more current events, but expect to see a really good bill coming out soon.
We have to focus on transforming policing in the United States.
And good news for race car fans. The Indy 500 plans to host 135,000 spectators next month, making it the largest sporting event in the world since the pandemic. Attendance is about 40% of what the grandstands hold at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And somehow, Ken, they say seating will be all socially distanced.
It's a big, big place.
It would have to be to hold that many people and be socially distanced.
Very big. All right, thanks, Liz. Still ahead, how to push past the vaccine fear factor. So we ask a White House official what is holding some people back.
Well, I think that there are a lot of dynamics that go into, hesitancy, so to speak.
Also, next, a search tonight for a new home for this exotic pet. How it ended up in a Bay Area shelter. And then later, one Bay Area supermarket turns a very lucky person into an instant millionaire. Take a live look at the White House on this Wednesday evening, where the Biden administration is celebrating a major milestone, 200 million COVID shots delivered nationwide before his 100th day in office. According to the CDC, at least 1 in 3 people have now received at least 1 dose of the vaccine. And today we asked a senior advisor, the White House COVID response team, what it's going to take to get the rest of the people who are hesitant or scared of the vaccine protected.
Well, I think that there are a lot of dynamics that go into, hesitancy, so to speak. There's complacency, just feeling like, you don't necessarily need to be vaccinated and you're safe as you are. There's confidence, that safety and efficacy or trust in the institutions that want you to get a vaccine. And then finally, there's convenience. That's the access dynamic. And we have to work on all of those.
Well, how would you like the opportunity to adopt a rare and exotic bird? Well, the Peninsula Humane Society has been housing a golden pheasant since last week. Volunteers at the facility have named the bird, very appropriately, Lord Featherington. They believe he escaped from someone's exotic pet farm. But since no one has come forward to claim him, Lord Featherington is now up for adoption.
Lord Featherington's ideal home environment is going to be an outdoor, predator-proof enclosed aviary. And so, that way he's safe from other predators and also, gives him a little bit of room to roam.
His feathers are just spectacular. If you're interested in adopting Lord Featherington, contact the Peninsula Humane Society, and his adoption fee is $20.
And coming up next, it was someone's very, very lucky day at one Bay Area supermarket. Finally tonight, one lottery player just hit the jackpot in San Francisco. Winning ticket for Mega Millions sold at the Richmond New Maiwa supermarket on Clement. Tickets worth $1.8 million. So far, the winner has not come forward. He's probably celebrating. Or she.
We need to find them. Well, thank you for watching. The news continues streaming on CBSN Bay Area.
Hopefully, we're related to them.
Yes, that would be nice.